Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman. Not as excited as I usually am because for the last maybe 2 or 3 days, I had a lot on my mind about this whole Solo thing, how it failed at the box office. Now you can sit there and tell me, well, it did really good for the time it was released, being a March and a holiday weekend. 110 million for a 4-day weekend isn't that bad. You can spin it all you want to. And yes, there's a lot of reasons why Solo didn't have a huge weekend as say Rogue One did. Now I know it's not going to do the numbers that a saga film does, but it should at least done close to what Rogue One did, if not better. Again, I did a whole video on this that there's a lot of reasons why. And there's not just one thing. But after reading websites today of what went wrong, is it Star Wars fatigue? I see a lot of these websites that list all kinds of things, except for probably one of the main reasons. But if you go to these websites and scroll down to the bottom, you'll see it's full with comments of really hurt, upset Star Wars fans. If you go on YouTube, you'll find those fans again. And of course, they're on Twitter. Like maybe many of you, I had my head stuck deep in the sand on this. I would tell people on Twitter, don't worry, Star Wars is in good hands. This is just a very small minority that didn't like The Last Jedi, and they're angry. And I would even say, they just don't like seeing a female lead Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy. They don't like the female lead in the movie because it's a girl. And for that, I apologize to all you out there. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of that out there also. And there's a lot of assholes out there also, like this one. But, like I said, I had my head in the sand, thinking this was a small but loud problem. And it didn't matter. However, over the last 2 days, I've talked to many of you on Twitter and other places online, and even in my real life, such as my brother, who grew up with me with Star Wars, but probably will never see another Star Wars movie ever again. Has no desire, and he's just as much as a fan. I might be a bigger fan being I collect all this junk and do this website stuff. He's not one to get online. But as I say, if you lost him, you can lose anybody. I'm not saying this is the only cause for Han Solo's weak opening. But I feel it's a major problem that Lucasfilms must address before Episode 9. Like I said, I've talked to many of you that come from different parts of this world that make up a whole different political party. Talk to you that support people on the left, support the right, somewhere in the middle, have no political game at all. I've talked to people of white, black, brown, green, blue, you name it. I've probably talked to you online about this. This isn't what some call an alt-right problem or a angry white man living in his basement. This is not the problem. And that kind of attitude, which I also had, is causing a lot of this problem also. A lot of fans just do not like the way Disney is going with Star Wars. Now, a lot of them didn't like The Force Awakens, but it was really The Last Jedi that really sent things off the rail, and mostly due to Luke Skywalker and how Disney, or how Rian Johnson, handled the character. They feel betrayed. They feel that Rian Johnson, along with Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilms, took this iconic character that they all grew up with and loved and actually destroyed him. And if you're like me, I loved Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Many of you did. But we must accept that many didn't. So put yourself in their shoes. Let's say, close your eyes. Think of Luke Skywalker. Think of the worst thing Lucasfilm could have done to Luke Skywalker. Think of a horrible direction Lucasfilm could have went with Luke Skywalker. How does that make you feel if that happened? Well, that's how these people feel. Although I do not agree with them, I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but they feel as strongly as you would if they destroyed Luke Skywalker. If you felt Lucasfilm or Rian Johnson destroyed Luke Skywalker or did something you just thought was the worst possible thing you could do, I'm sure you would feel like they do also. And these fans became angry when how anyone does if they see something they love being destroyed. Now you could say, well, they just shut up and watch the movie. Or a lot of people didn't like the prequels. You didn't see all this boycott the prequels. Well, that's a little different. George Lucas was making his movie, and for the most part, although I'm not a huge fan of the prequels, I do like them, a lot of people never felt like George Lucas was ruining the films. Now they might have said, now yes, they did say he ruined the childhood, but they never felt personally attacked. He never took a character someone grew up with, invested in, loved, and really just, to them, changed them completely. And that's not the only problem. The problem is a lot of these people, when they go online or start to voice their opinion, I don't like the way Star Wars is going, I don't like this. What do the people, either at Lucasfilm, maybe Rian Johnson himself, maybe others that work within Lucasfilm, or just people like me on Twitter, maybe people like you, or just people within the industry, they just laugh it off. Oh, those are just angry white men. Oh, those are just they just don't like girls. They don't like Kathleen Kennedy. Or they're sexist. So you take this group of people already angry at the way Star Wars is going, and instead of listening to their anger, you attack it. And I know people personally, like I said, my brother, he's not a sexist. He's not a racist. He's not a homophobe. He's not all that. He just doesn't like the direction. He just doesn't like the way Star Wars is going. But he's kind of being put in that box of, oh, they're just sexist, or they're just angry men living in their basement. And that's just going to add fuel to the fire. I must see a similarity in this as I do Star Trek. J.J. Abrams rebooted Star Trek. A lot of people loved the reboot. I'm sure some fans didn't like it as much as others, but for the first one, overall, it was pretty liked. And then came Star Trek Into Darkness, a film again that I actually really liked. But I know a lot, and I mean a lot, of the die-hard Star Trek original movie and TV fans felt betrayed with that movie also, kind of hurt. Not really, maybe they did not like the direction it was going. They do not like some of the ideas of changing some of the characters like Khan. And yes, Star Trek Into Darkness was a mild hit. But what suffered because of this? Star Trek Beyond. I'm not sure if it bombed, but it didn't do anywhere near the money they hoped it would do. Why? A lot of the core fans were angry. And you can't protest a movie that's currently out. It always is going to hurt the next movie. Not only do you have that with Star Wars, you have something else that's adding to this. If you remember, a couple years ago, they rebooted Ghostbusters, or remade Ghostbusters with an all-female cast. And anyone that looked at the trailer, although it looked horrible, if you said it looked horrible, even if you said you did not want to go see this movie, you were branded a sexist. You didn't want to see a movie with girls in it. Although that about that same time, The Force Awakens was a huge hit starring a female, people labeled you a sexist. Even one of the nerdiest nerds of them all, the guy that does the Angry Video Nerd, he was branded as a sexist just for saying he wasn't going to go see this Ghostbusters. I myself on Twitter said it looked like garbage, and I was called names. And you know what? I've never even seen the original Ghostbusters. I didn't care if they rebooted it. I didn't care if it had females or not. It just didn't look good to me. And I know Ghostbusters fans, they just looked horrible. And yes, someone was upset because they kind of threw away the old films instead of doing it as a handoff, a passing of the baton. But again, what did the directors and filmmakers and other people online do whenever you said you hated this? You was branded as sexist. That you hated it because the only reason you didn't like it is because it had females in it. And Lucasfilms and people like me are doing this to the fans that hate Star Wars. So you got the perfect storm here. You got people that really upset at the direction of Star Wars who are swearing it off. And then on top of that, you got Lucasfilm, people like me, or just people online grouping all these haters into the sexist or racist or alt-white or alt-right category. So you're getting a perfect storm of anger. First, they're mad because they don't like how it's going. And now, when they voice that anger, instead of getting any kind of feedback from Lucasfilm or the actors involved or the directors, they don't get, hey, sorry it's not working for you. What can we do to try to fix it? What do you want? They just get laughed at, called names when most of them's not. Now again, there's probably some sexist people in that group and just some angry men in that group also. But there's a lot of people from all sides of life, from all political sides, that are in that and getting lumped into that, just an angry white man in his basement category. So you got all these people upset. So you got them all upset and you got this perfect storm. And that's what I just wanted to pass on. Because I admit, I had my head buried in the sand. One of our good online friends, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, we've gone back on Twitter back and forth because he is extremely on the hate side. Again, I don't agree with probably most of what he says. But for months I've been talking with him. That's all I've been doing is talking with him, not listening to him. And that's the problem. We as Star Wars fans have to find a way to all come together again. I love Star Wars. As you can look around this room and see, I love Star Wars. But what I love more about Star Wars is the fandom. Having other Star Wars fans. Last year I went to Celebrations. It was one of the greatest days of my life. Meeting other fans. Bonding with other fans. Having a common interest with other fans. Because, face it, in real life, I got my online friends that love Star Wars. I got some friends in real life that like Star Wars. But for the most part, other than a few here and there, I don't really bond with a bunch of Star Wars fans. Or not as geeky as I am with it. So it was nice to go somewhere like Celebration and really bond with these people. But until we can come together, not just me, not just us as fans, but people over at Lucasfilm, which I know won't see this, but they need to come together also. Now, of course, the other side is angry. They're upset. And like I said, there's a bunch of assholes on that side also. Again, like this guy. And they have to accept that, hey, we like the way Lucasfilm's going. We like the way Star Wars is going. And we all have to start listening and talking to each other and working together. Because if we just push this group off as, they're just hateful, they're just sexist, well, that group's going to get bigger and bigger. And sadly, we've already seen the effects it's had on Solo. Again, yes, it might have more than one problem. But you should be able to release a Star Wars movie in May. And I don't care. I don't care about Avengers. Star Wars came out. Solo came out about 4 weeks after Avengers. This is Star Wars we're talking about. It should not be affected that much about a movie 4 weeks before. And don't give me Deadpool 2. Sure, it affected it, but it shouldn't have that much effect on it. And you can get into the whole production thing and all that. But overall, like I said, there's a lot of excuses. But those excuses, like released at the wrong time, tough competition, stuff like that, Lucasfilm can fix that really easy. Just moving stuff around, that's easy. The hard problem is going to be getting back these core fans. And again, it's not a small minority. I grant you, it is a minority. I still think it is. but it's a lot bigger than I thought it was. Something has to be done. If Lucasfilm just keeps the way they're going, which is kind of how Disney likes to do things, Episode 9 is going to suffer. If these angry fans still feel they're being attacked by Lucasfilms, people like me, people like some of you, people that are from Ryan Johnson, stuff like that, if these people, who I refer to as toxic fans, but only a few of them within that group are, if they're not dealt with, if we can't reach a compromise with them, if Lucasfilm comes out, let's say next week, and laughs off the boycott or makes fun of them, makes fun of people that didn't like The Last Jedi, goes back into calling them names and stuff like that, it's just going to make things worse. If they do not see some kind of course change between now and Episode 9, which is about a year and a half away, I'm really, really afraid that if Episode 9 fails, it's going to be too late to fix Star Wars. That the damage is just too much to fix. And let's say a lot of people don't like Episode 9. It's just going to send more to that group who's going to start all over it, and then they're going to get angry also. So something, I don't know what exactly, has to be done. I'm not on board on the fire Kathleen Kennedy train. But I'm starting to think maybe she needs to focus more on Lucasfilm, and someone needs to be bringing in to be more over Star Wars. Because I'm not sure if she's the right fit for Star Wars. She's an excellent producer. Again, I don't think fire, but I'm really not sure what needs to be done. But these fans need to see, hey, Lucasfilm knows there's a problem. They're trying to course correct, or they're trying to fix it. And I don't want them to change just for these angry people. I like how it's going. I like Star Wars. I haven't had a problem with it so far. But you have to show these people that, hey, we at least know that some of you are not happy. And it's not because you're sexist. And it's not because there's a female in the movie. A lot of you are just unhappy with the way things are going. It's up. If they can't find a way to let the hateful fans know, hey, we're working together to fix this. We're going to give you back the Star Wars you want and all the fans want. If they can't do that, Episode 9 is going to suffer, and by then it's going to be too late. Sure, we'll still have our old movies. It's not going to be the same. And again, let me stress, I don't think the boycott, the angry fans, was the main. I don't think the boycott, the angry fans, was the only reason that Solo failed. But I think it was a lot bigger reason that a lot of people are giving it credit for. And I know this is just a movie. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe the sky's not falling. But I really feel we're at a crossroad right now. These people were loud, screaming, kicking their feet, and we laughed it off. We paid them no attention. We didn't care. We laughed at them, called them names. I did it. Some of you did it. Or Lucasfilm's been known to do it. I think maybe Kathleen Kennedy's done it. I've heard Ryan Johnson's done it. Everybody has laughed it off, didn't care, and now we're paying the price. And now Solo, which I think is a very good movie, and I think a lot of these angry fans would like Solo. A lot of the stuff I hear they're upset about, I don't think applies for Solo. But I think they made their voice heard. Again, there's other reasons also why it didn't do as good, but you have to address the fandom. We have to come back together. Even during the prequel era, we were a fandom. We might not have liked the prequels. We might have said stupid stuff like George Lucas would ruin our childhood. But overall, we felt like a community. At least I did. I was never attacked for liking the prequels. I never got told stuff like this for liking Attack of the Clones. So again, this is just to let you all know, we all have to start talking to each other. Lucasfilm, if you're out there, which I doubt you'll see this, but we all, even you, have to start addressing this upset group. If not, it's going to destroy Star Wars. And if it's not fixed, I don't think by Episode 9, Can you imagine if episode 9 opens to, let's say, 200 million, or it only makes 800 million? I know that sounds like a lot of money, but we're talking about a saga and the end of a saga film. If they can't show that they're doing some kind of course correction, that they're listening to this group over here, then episode 9 is going to be hurt by it. Believe me, no lie, episode 9 is going to be hurt by these people, about the people upset at Star Wars, if they don't see some kind of change coming. I don't know what kind of change can be done. I think just Lucasfilm addressing that, hey, you're not sexist, you're not racist, you're not hateful, you're not angry white men. You have a problem with the direction, we're sorry about that. We're going to give you an episode 9 that even you're going to love. If they just come out and address that, I think that's all they have to do to at least get some of these people to, okay, relax. They heard us. We made a difference. We have been loud. They heard us. They're going to at least try something different. But again, if Lucasfilm says nothing and just says it's Star Wars fatigue or the wrong time of the month or people didn't want to see Solo, again, all those might be valid reasons, but it's not but it's not the only reason. That group of people that don't like the way things are going, even if I like it and you like it, it doesn't matter. We need them as a fan community. And we all just need to come back together and love Star Wars. But I want to thank you for watching. This has been on my mind for the last 2 days. Some of you who follow me on Twitter is probably sick of hearing me talk about it. But really, it's I know it's crazy being just a Star Wars movie, and all movies are going to have a stumble now and then, but it's really opened my eyes to this problem that a lot of people are unhappy. And like I said, my brother, I grew up with him. You know, me and him played with that Death Star right there. We played with it. He's never going to see episode 9 or Solo. He did not. You know, I stood in line at every prequel with my brother for hours waiting to see one of the prequels. And I asked him, he said, you going to see Solo? No, he's not going to go see Solo. He's not going to give another penny to Disney or Lucasfilms when they're just calling him names, laughing him off, and don't give a shit about what he thinks the direction of Star Wars is going. So yeah, so we played with like that Death Star, and he's not going to go see Solo, and he swears he's not going to see episode 9, unless maybe he sees a change in the way things are going. And I want to apologize. I did a lot of talking with you guys, but I didn't listen to you guys. I just said what I had to say, put my head back in the sand, and thought, that stupid hateful group, they just want to hate on something. They don't care. Whatever it is, it's one of their, whatever they're going to hate on it. Who cares what they have to say? That's a small minority over there. Nobody, everybody's laughing at them. Who cares? Well, I was wrong. And I apologize to all you out there for that. Because even if you are a small group, you deserve to be heard, not labeled a sexist and a racist or angry white man or alt-white or alt-right, whatever that means. You deserve to have a Star Wars you can love and be proud of. I deserve a Star Wars to be proud of also. And Lucasfilm has to find a way, that Marvel has, to keep the fan base together. No one's going to be 100% happy. You're going to have one group that doesn't like it. I'm not a big Marvel fan. I went to see them, liked Iron Man, liked Ant-Man. The rest of them I really didn't care for. I'm not angry about it, but I hadn't really invested like a lot of people. So I'm sure there's some people out there that don't like Marvel, but it's a small group. For the most part, the Marvel fan base is a tight-knit community that likes the way Marvel is handling their films. We need to get back to that with Star Wars. So please, don't just call these angry people names and dismiss them. They're out there, they're upset, they're stomping their feet, they're gonna be heard, and at the end of the day, it's gonna hurt Star Wars if we can't listen. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back very soon.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.